We've all had this happen at some point in our lives. We learn about trading, we want to start trading, and so what do? We take trades. Whether we have any idea what we're doing or not, we think we do, we don't, whatever, we start throwing our hat into the ring. Then you get that notice saying you can no longer take any day trades because you are a pattern day trader. And you're like, what is that? In this video, I want to talk about the PDT rule, why it is irrelevant as we move into 2024. There are many workarounds, and we're going to cover all of those here in this video. So first things first, for those who may not be aware, the PDT rule is essentially a rule where if you have under $25,000 in the United States in a brokerage account and you take more than 3 day trades, meaning you enter and exit on the same exact day, okay, in that account, in a margin account, buy at 9 a.m., sell at 2 p.m., buy at 9 a.m., sell at 9:01 a.m., same thing. You can't do that more than 3 times per 5 days. If you do it on Monday, on Wednesday, and on Friday, cool, you're fine. You can then do it again on Monday, but you can only take one because every 5 days it will then reset or that last trade comes off. A better way to put it would be, let's say I take 3 trades on Monday, 3 day trades on Monday on different stocks or options or whatever. And then it's Tuesday, I cannot day trade. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I cannot day trade. On Monday, those 3 day trades come off my record, and now I'm good to go come Monday morning to take 3 more day trades if I want to, okay? So again, if I were to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I can only trade pretty much like every other day. And again, under $25,000 in a margin account. Is it good or bad? You can look at it both ways. It's meant to protect people from losing a lot of money because those who have less than $25,000 could be seen as higher risk, and these people have less experience, less knowledge, and generally speaking, the less money you have, the more inclined you are to take on higher risk because you don't have as much to lose as someone who maybe has built a portfolio or an account over time, and there's exceptions there. But it's kind of meant to protect in a way, and I see that approach, and I understand why people hate it because, hey, it really kind of pigeonholes and forces me to, do all these different workarounds and not allow me to do what I want to do, and it's a pain in the ass. I get it. You can see the argument to both sides of why people think it should be there, why it shouldn't be there. But there are now multiple ways to work around this, and it's gotten a lot easier to do so, which is why it is irrelevant, in my opinion, as we move into 2024. Now, before we get into those, I do want to thank the sponsor of today's video, Ironbeam.
Introducing Ironbeam, a bright choice for futures trading. Ironbeam is an industry-leading broker catering to traders worldwide. With 24-hour live support and the free Ironbeam platform, you can trade the most popular and liquid future contracts anywhere and from any device. With day trade margins as low as $50 and no account minimums, futures trading is more accessible than ever. Register now and let us help you shine a light on futures trading. Ironbeam.
All right, so the ways around the PDT rule. There's the first way, which is kind of like the lesser chosen option nowadays, but it's still an option, is create multiple brokerage accounts. So let's say that I have a TD Ameritrade account, a Robinhood account, a Webull account, and you can get, more and more, and I put in $1,000 into each one, and now I have $1,000 on a margin account, and I can use that to trade 3 times per 5 trading days in each of the accounts. And so I can take a couple of day trades in one of them. Once I max it out for that 5-day span, I move to the next account and the next account and the next account. Now, good and bad because different accounts, different platforms, different user interfaces. It could be more challenging. It could mess with your head a little bit. You need to make sure you're well versed in each of those platforms before you embark on this route, but that's an option for you. Option number 2 is a cash account. If you create a cash account, you're actually able to day trade as much as you want. The only prohibiting factor there is that when your settled cash runs out, well, you can't day trade anymore, okay? Or you'll have the risk of a good faith violation, which again could kind of lead you on the similar path and getting you, I don't say banned, but having restrictions on your account. So if you had $1,000 in your cash account, depending on what you trade and your brokerage platform, and they're moving closer and closer towards like next day settlement across the board. But many options platforms these days will have next day settlement. So if I had $1,000 in the account and I trade $1,000, I trade 2 $500 positions, so 2 $500 trades, right? Each trade being valued at $500. Those trades, if I close them out, will settle either the next day or the day after that, depending upon if it's the next day settlement or like 2-day settlement time. I believe with options on, for example, a platform like Webull, I don't want to speak upon other ones that I don't know off the top of my head. It's next day. So if I had $1,000 of settled cash on Monday and I used all that up, come Tuesday, that settled cash is now settled again and I can use it again. So essentially you have the ability to day trade. Now that's it. The prohibiting factor there is that eventually you run out of settled cash. So if you trade, an average size of, let's say $250, 4 trades and is your max on the day. Now that could actually work because maybe you trade options and $250 is enough to get you started and is enough leverage, is enough, money on the line for what you trade. And you only say, hey, I only really need to trade, 3 times a day max. If I trade more than that, I'm usually losing. That can totally work. So you have to just kind of work your position size into that. It could be a problem if you trade shares or if you want to have it settle faster. But again, same thing here can apply. Multiple cash accounts on different platforms, being able to trade as much as you want pretty much on each one until the settled cash runs out. And so that could buy you a couple more day trades per week, depending upon your sizing if you went that route. The third way around it is to trade futures. If you create a futures account, many futures brokers, if you are a US citizen, create a futures account, you can trade as much as you want. There's no PDT rule there. Now there's even tax benefits to that. We've got a video from a while back that we covered some of that on the futures trading playlist. Highly recommend you check it out if you want to learn more about futures. But if you trade futures, you can open an account with some accounts these days, $50 to $100, and you could literally start trading the micro E-mini S&Ps, the Russell, even the NASDAQ with a very low amount of money. And technically speaking, if you're winning and you hold your account balance over a certain threshold for the broker, many of them are like $50, you can trade as much as you want. Scalping for a couple dollars per contract, scalping or holding for maybe, $5, $10, $20, $100 moves, even on the micro E-minis, you can do that on one contract. So you could get your foot in the door and you can get started there. The only problem again is that you have to make sure you're aware of the drawdown requirements or the limitations, because if you fall under a certain amount, they'll automatically liquidate you, and then they could charge fees, and there's problems there. So you do want to have at least a couple $100. But if you have a couple $100, you can literally get started trading futures, and you can trade pretty much as you want, as long as you don't lose like a bunch in a row or have huge losses and fall under the account minimums. But really, there are very, very low account minimums across a lot of futures brokers these days. Now, the fourth option is going to be trading with a prop firm. So if you are not familiar with the massive surge in prop firms that we've seen lately over the past couple of years specifically, a lot of people like the idea of paying a couple $100 to try out, essentially, prove that they can make money. And if you hit some certain profit targets by certain dates sometimes, or just in whatever time frame that prop firm sets, if they even have one, they might not even have a time frame, then you can get a funded account where they will give you an account that apparently has money. Now, there's the argument on both sides that people believe that they don't ever actually give you real money to trade. You're trading with fake money, and if you do make money, then they just pay you out from the profits that they've made from all the people who are signing up and applying and who fail these accounts over and over and over again. Irrelevant, it doesn't really matter. In the grand scheme, you can, a couple $100, buy yourself a 25K, a 50K, a 100K account, have leverage, and be able to trade Forex, futures, whatever you want, shares, CFDs most of the time. You can trade whatever you want. And now you don't have to use your own capital A, and you're getting the buying power, and you're using a brokerage platform that does not have to worry about a PDT rule. So you can go that route as well. And that route honestly is not a terrible route, because there's that trial period. You don't just pay $500 and they give you 50K and say, okay, go ahead and trade it. No, there's rules you got to follow. And then there's profit targets that you have to hit by a specified time. Once you hit that, if you hit that, okay, now here's your funded account. Right? And there are still rules you got to follow there. But like, these are all things that you could do and that you could take advantage of to not have to worry about the PDT rule. And there's a lot of benefits with a lot of these options. So personally, if I knew about how this worked, many, many years ago when I first got interested, probably would have shaved a good amount of time off the learning curve, because I wouldn't have wasted a lot of time with PDT Rule issues, with starting with a couple $100 in college and then trying to build that up, because it's one of the hardest things to do is building an account from a very small amount. And the PDT Rule doesn't make it any easier necessarily, but there are ways around it. Now, the prop firm that I use, any links, resources I will link down below. Also, the sponsor of today's video, IronBeam. If you want a futures trading platform that you can get started with a very small amount of money, you have the option there. Again, trading is not easy. There's a lot of risk to this, no matter what strategy you go about, whether you're opening a new account with this broker, that broker, you're trying to cash account, you're going with the prop firm. There's a lot of ways to lose money. But these are options available to you, and these are ways around the PDT Rule. Hope it was helpful. Make sure you subscribe, thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.